Hey, boys and girls. All right, we are going to begin lesson 27. Okay, and this is going to be over chapter 12 and 13 of our text. So before we begin, go ahead and get your text and your red folder. You're going to take notes on lesson 27 note catcher that says the Whipping Boy chapters 12 and 13, wherein Jimmy is betrayed and the chase. Okay, so something big's going to be happening in these two chapters. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get our presentation ready. Okay, get to the beginning. Move it. I like to move it. Okay. All right. Lesson 27, The Whipping Boy, chapters 12 and 13. Okay. So, lesson 26, we connected what the text actually said and compared it to what the illustration was showing. All right. And so we saw the fight. We read about the big argument between Jimmy and Prince Brat, and then we actually physically saw the expression on their face when they were standing around that table. Okay. All right, today we're going to read chapters 12 and 13. We're going to refer to details and examples in the text when the text, the same one that we've done since, August. Okay, we're using text evidence. We're going to the book and we're proving what we think and what we know. All right. All right, you should have already have what you have. You should already have what you need. I'm sorry, you should already have what you need. Now, I will again, express your understanding. So your exit ticket for the day, how we know that you're going to be prepared and that you've understood what these two chapters and what this lesson is telling us. You're actually going to do your express your understanding on, it's going to be a your choice type thing. You can either handwrite it out on a piece of paper with the correct heading, have your mom or dad or guardian take a picture of it, and then email it to me or put it in your drive. Okay, I've had some people do that with some assignments, or you can type it. So the only other, the only other document that's going to be loaded with this lesson is going to be the Google Doc, or I might put it in a Google form for your paragraph. Okay, now I'm going to do it in Google Doc for your paragraph. You can do either one though. You can take a you can handwrite it, so you're practicing that good handwriting, and upload it, or you can go ahead and type it, so you can practice your keyboarding skills. All right. Okay, so with your partner, that's going to be me today, you're going to read aloud chapters 12 and 13. Okay, so that should be beginning on page 38. We're going to prepare for the class discussion by taking notes. So you pause the video when you need to, or if you want to pause it now and read it and then work on it and come back to the video, that's going to be your choice also, however you work best. But you can take the notes as we go. So the first question is, what was Jimmy's plan to escape when Hold Your Nose Billy left to deliver the ransom note? So we're going inside Jimmy's head. So as I read, think about what Jimmy's thinking. What was his plan to escape? All right. Then the second question says, why did Prince Brat betray Jimmy's plan? So if you don't know what that word means, you'll find out in just a minute. And then what did the prince do or say to help us understand why? So we're going to have some real answers coming out of why Prince Brat behaves the way he does. Okay. And then it gives you an excerpt, a couple of quotes. What do these two excerpts from the text tell us about Jimmy, and what words or phrases from this text led you to that conclusion? So that one might not be able to be done during the reading until after, but these first two questions can be done during the reading. And then the express your understanding at the bottom of lesson 27, you will complete handwritten, submit, or on the Google Doc. Okay. All right. We're in Jimmy's plan is betrayed. With a gleeful chuckle, Hold Your Nose Billy dropped the ransom note and the golden crown into a dirty linen sack. When he had knotted the sack to the saddle, he turned to Cutwater. Soon as I'm within a squint of the castle, I'll turn the beast loose. Guard our prisoners. I'll tie him up, Cutwater wheezed, giving his heavy partner a foot up onto the royal saddle, lifting him up. From the doorway, Jimmy watched Hold Your Nose Billy vanish into the tangled maze of tree limbs and brambles. Then he glanced about at the bare furnishings. The hanging ropes of garlic bulbs, the bed straw, the chest of stolen goods. He'd need some trickery to escape. The prince fixed him with a smirk. You're clever, all right, but a common dunce all the same. Ah! A cartload of gold and jewels, the ruffians would have been content with a mere jingle of coins. Jimmy's eyes swung back to the bedstraw. There was his escape. A cartload of moonshine, he said. It'll never be forked over. I'm the prince. Papa will have to pay it. Jimmy began burrowing like a barn mouse under the moldy straw. Not a bit, he won't. Papa will foam at the mouth. Jimmy was disappearing limb by limb under the straw. Think again. It'll be clear as water the note's a scrambly, witted fake. Papa'll keep me under lock and key after this. It won't fool a soul, that note. How could you have written it? Everyone in the castle knows you can't so much as sign your own name. I never needed to before. It's me that's in the soup. I'll catch it for your mischief in running away, and I'll catch it again when the tutor claps eyes on the handwriting. He'll say, Jimmy, this is Jimmy trying to line his own pockets. Your papa'll scrag me with his bare hands. So I'll be obliged if you'd help me nip out of here. I promise you my protection, announced the prince with sudden generosity. Jimmy protects himself, said the whipping boy. When the plague eye Cutwater comes to tie us up, tell him I slipped out the door. Soon as he bounces off after me, I'll make a break for it. You'd leave me alone with cutthroats. Before Jimmy could answer, he heard a sharp squeak at the door. He held his breath. Lads, you won't mind if I truss you up like a Christmas goose? There came a sudden pause, and Jimmy's heart began to thump. Where's the prince? Cutwater snapped. Jimmy heard Prince Brat answer without the slightest hesitation. Him, over there, under the straw. Yeah, not a very good friend, is he? Well, he's not really a friend right now. He's the prince. Okay, go to your note taker page. Question 1, what was Jimmy's plan to escape when Hold Your Nose Billy left to deliver the ransom note? Go ahead and pause, and I want you to write that down. Go back into the text. Don't just write random thoughts. Prove it. What was his plan to escape? Okay. And then why did Prince Brat betray Jimmy's plan? What did the prince do or say to help you understand? Okay, so thinking about what just happened, why would the prince betray Jimmy's plan? Okay, go ahead and record your answers. Pause the video. All right, so chapter 13, the chase. A thoroughbred of the streets, Jimmy acted on instinct. He didn't wait to be nabbed. In a burst of straw, he shot up and made a leap for the door. Cutwater, startled, lost the merest breath of time, but it was enough. Jimmy flung open the door and ran. His long arms outstretched, Cutwater lurched after him, and Prince Brat followed. Jimmy vanished into the wild green tangle. He jumped a great fallen log, ducked under low-hanging branches, and, like a rabbit, made sudden changes in direction. He could hear Cutwater close behind him, breathing like a bellows. I'm on your track. Stop before I get aggravaxed with you, Prince. Jimmy covered the ground at full tilt. Leaves crackled under his feet. God, he thought, he might as well be leading a confounded parade for all the noise he was making. He reached a small clearing and half jumped out of his skin. Sniffing near the skeleton white roots of an uprooted hollow tree stood a wild beast. A bear. Jimmy could have preferred Cutwater's own company, but before he could find his legs, the hairy beast took flight. It went crashing away to Jimmy's left. Jimmy got his breath back. Then, almost without thinking, he dove into the hollow of the dead tree and snugged himself in. Moments later, he caught the merest glimpse of Cutwater cupping an ear. Turning on his heels, the rattle-boned man gave a shout. Practically got you by the hind leg, pesky prince. Jimmy let out a small sigh of relief. Cutwater would have a mighty surprise if he caught that bear by the hind leg. As the sounds of the chase grew fainter, Jimmy crawled out of the hollow root. The sun was now high enough to send down smoky rays of light through the treetops. Which way was the river? And then he saw Prince Brat, his face lobster red from running at the edge of the clearing. Unfaithful servant, he protested, glaring hard at Jimmy. Until this moment, Jimmy hadn't had a moment's pause for anger. But now, fury shot into his eyes. Curse this blabber-tongued, hateful prince. You betrayed me. You'd have deserted me without a care. Jimmy bristled. Ain't it me they think is the prince? If you hadn't pointed me out under the straw, Cutwater would have flown off to pick up my tracks, and we could have crept out dead easy. I wouldn't be running out my lungs out. prince pondered this for a moment. He nodded. Then I forgive you. Jimmy was speechless for a moment. Forgive me? Don't trouble yourself, my good and loyal prince, and get yourself another whipping boy. But I have not dismissed you from my service, said the prince calmly. I dismissed myself, Jimmy fired back. I'll get where I'm going, and you can find your own way back to the castle. I'll go with you. Not likely. Jimmy turned to the right and beat his way back into the foliage. Stop there. All right, so now, yeah, let's go ahead and read your excerpts. So your excerpts in the middle of Lesson 27 Note Catcher says, a thoroughbred of the streets, Jimmy acted on instinct. He didn't wait to be nabbed. In a burst of straw, he shot up and made a leap for the door. Jimmy got his breath back. Then, almost without thinking, he dove into the hollow of a dead tree and snugged himself in. All right, so these two excerpts are wanting you to analyze Jimmy and really think about his character and who he is, what kind of character traits, what kind of personality he has. So let's first make sure that you understand the words in those two questions. What was the plan? We're going to come back to these. Okay, so I want you to look in here. Let me see if I can do the laser pointer thingy. Oh, can I do a pen? Look at this. Okay, a thoroughbred of the streets. So a thoroughbred. All right, so that word thoroughbred. If you got to think about horses, so they have thoroughbred racing, they have thoroughbred horses, thoroughbred dogs. Those are those animals that are bred and very expensive. Hunting dogs, Australian shepherds, cow herders, they herd. Those are thoroughbreds. So a thoroughbred of the street would be like the very, the horses that are really fast, very good quality. Okay. Jimmy acted on instinct. He didn't wait to be nabbed. Okay. Nabbed. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to instinct. Instinct. So that word instinct, what does it mean? He acted on instinct. Okay. So lots of times I throw stuff at y'all in class. So if you see me and then I have something and I'm like, okay, table 4, and then I throw something, what is your first instinct? Jump back, right? Because you need to make sure you pay attention to catch it. So instinct is your body physically reacting without thinking. So an instinct, that is something you do without thinking. Okay. If you see a car come in the middle of the road, what do? You move. You're not thinking about it. You just know that you have to move. So it's an instinct. Nabbed, snatched. In a burst of straw, he shot up and made a leap for the door. Burst of straw. Okay. So we know he's hiding in the bed straw, right? He buried himself under it. So in a burst of straw, he shot up and made a leap for the door. So what is that telling us he did? Jumped up, and then, so if he shot up, he come out, then what happened to that straw? So think about if you made a big pile of leaves in your yard, because we love doing that fall time. We break up big pile of leaves. What do? We go jump in it, and what happens to those leaves? Right? They go everywhere. So burst of straw. So you can visualize what's going on here in this text. All right, second excerpt. Jimmy got his breath back. Okay. Then without thinking, he dove into the hollow of the dead tree and snugged himself in. So without thinking, again, pairs up with instinct. Okay. He dove into the hollow. Dove. That just means to, say it with me, dive. He jumped to the hollow of a dead tree. Well, that is going to actually help you out on page 43. It can show you what happened. You can't really see that, can you? There's a hole in the tree, hollow of a dead tree, okay? And snugged himself in. Well, you got to think about that. We say it all the time, we like to snuggle. We get our blankets and we cuddle up. That's snugged. So he pulled himself in real tight. Okay, so he is now hiding in the street. These two excerpts are telling us something about Jimmy from the streets. What is it telling us? Hey, I'm waiting on y'all to tell me. Jimmy is very quick-witted, very smart, street smart. He thinks very fast on his feet. Those are those people that think very fast on their feet. I'm not one of those people. Okay, so he has just a natural ability. They call him Jimmy from the streets, right? So he's very good at knowing what to do in certain instances. Okay, so what word or phrases does let us know that? Acted on instinct, and almost without thinking. So you would definitely want to make sure that you do something with almost without thinking and acted on instinct here. Okay. All right, let's go back now. Okay, so what was Jimmy's plan for escaping when Hold Your Nose Billy left to deliver the ransom note? Like I said, that one should have been easy when that was in your text. What did he do? His plan was to hide in the bed straw. Okay, so your notes, or if you wrote it in a complete sentence, because I know your parents are making you work, and I'm so happy for that. You would have said Jimmy's plan for escaping, and you wouldn't have had to say his name. Jimmy's plan for escaping was to go hide in the bed straw, and then leave when, yeah. Okay, you could leave it simple, or you can go into that explanation. But we know that the plan was to hide. So why did Prince Brat betray his plan? We might need to go back to the text for that one. So let's go back. To page 40. Something's going on. I already told you in the last chapter, he kind of made, let me give you a clue about how Prince Brat's feeling. Okay, so on page 36, about midway, I've already thought about it. Once you're up and gone, I'll slip away out into the forest. I'll be harder to catch than a flea. But I'm not leaving, said the prince firmly. Gah, but why? Is it your paw you're afraid of? Is that why you won't go back? The prince scoffed. He won't miss me. Of course he will. Let him wait and mind your affairs. So that little blurb of a conversation tells us something's going on with the way he's feeling about his dad. Okay. And you got to think about it. Medieval times, what does the king do? What is a king responsible for? And he's a kid. Okay. So chapter 13, why would he betray? What's going on that he betrayed his plan? So page 44, until this moment, Jimmy hadn't had a cause for, oops, no, wrong one. There we go. Okay. Page 40. Jimmy protects himself. Papa will have me locked under. Okay, so page 39, it starts the conversation. Papa will foam at the mouth. Think again, it'll be clear as water. The note's a scrambly witted fake. Papa will keep me under lock and key after this. It won't fool a soul, that note. How could you have written it? Everyone in the castle knows you can't so much rush your name. I've never needed to before. So what's going on? Again, okay, why did Prince Brat betray? Because he didn't want to go back to the castle. I promise you my protection, he says. Jimmy protects himself. You'd leave me alone with cutthroats. And then he comes back in there and he betrays him. So Prince Brat betrayed Jimmy's plan because, one, he did not want to go back to the castle. He wanted to go back on his own terms because something's brewing inside. And two, because he didn't want to be left alone with cutthroats. Okay. What did the prince do and say to help you understand? Well, you would have taken notes as the same things that I told you, where he said, Papa will keep me under lock and key. Papa will foam at the mouth. So he's trying to sit there and say he's going to be mad. He's going to lock me up. And then he's like, I'll promise you my protection. You'll leave me with cutthroats. So that's lets us know why. Now, to understand, it's going to take a little bit deeper dive into Prince Brat. So remember when I said that before we left school, we really have to get that foundation of who these kids were in the beginning. He was always acting out. Why do people act out? What's one reason a lot of people act out? What are they looking for? A lot of times when kids act out, they're looking and searching for attention. Be it bad attention, but it's still some form of attention. Okay, so the prince has been acting out and doing this mischief because he just wanted a little bit of attention. Okay. All right. Now, what do the two excerpts tell us about Jimmy? We answer that one. And so this is where it's going to get a little tricky. You're supposed to discuss how Jimmy and Prince Brat are feeling by thinking about the events that have happened to them up to this point in the story. So literally going back to chapter 1. And I do want you to practice rereading the argument at the end of chapter 13. So I will have that assignment posted. So on page 44, at the very top where it says until this moment, so you can see the dialogue. Get someone to help you, or, you know, be Casey and Cassie, you know, like this. You betrayed me. You haven't deserted me without a care. Ain't it me they think is the prince? And if you hadn't pointed me out under the straw, Cutwater would have flown off to pick up my tracks, and we would have crept away dead easy. I wouldn't be running my lungs out. Then I forgive you. Forgive me? So go back and forth. Just practice. You got to change that intonation because, right, Jimmy is furious. I mean, he is so mad right now. Prince Precious is like, I forgive you. Good idea. I like it. Okay, so all right, and then that's how you're going to show the character's feelings, by changing that tone in your voice. Okay, and for fun, if you want to, record it and send it to me. Let's see. Next, this is your exit ticket. This is the one that I want you to either handwrite and take a picture and upload so I can see you writing, or on the Google Doc. I'm sorry. Who do you think has the right to be angry? Jimmy or Prince Brat at the end of chapter 13? So you have to have 2 reasons or examples, remember? Okay, so you got to tell me why. So don't just give me a reason. Why did it matter? Why does it matter? We talked about that in class. Why does it matter? So why does the evidence that you say matter to the reason that you're talking about? All right. Google Doc or handwritten, okay? Right now, you're thinking about who has the right to be angry. Does Jimmy have the right to be angry with Prince, or does the Prince have the right to be angry at Jimmy? That's going to be your opinion. All right, so we are learning to support our answers with evidence and examples from the text. All right, guys. Everything will be uploaded in this assignment. 25, 6, and 7, everything will be due. I'm going to put a due date for next Friday. This is Friday. For the 24th. The only reason I put due dates, though, is to help y'all stay kind of on track, so you know what's due and what was first. So lesson 25, 26, and 27, you know you'll start 25, but that's what you need to be working on to kind of keep yourself on pace, okay? All right, and I will see y'all in the mentor sentence.